I'm Riley the Vizier. I'm a podcast producer, YouTuber, rapper, and with me is...
Trixie the Golden Witch. I am also most of those things.
I'm Bird Stork. I'm a cook, and you're going to buy me a truck.
And I'm the absolute unit. It's the Itzman Salad, and I draw the most good out there.
And this is the new Voidgazers Podcast. We have opinions about things, and now you can subscribe to the channel or download the podcast from ASCpresents.com to hear those opinions. That's right, we have an RSS feed that you can find easily from that website, or just by putting into your podcast app, ASCpresents.com/podcast/feed/Voidgazers. It's easier to just go to ASCpresents.com. What is up, Trixie and Bird?
I'm like thinking, have I ever used a podcast's RSS feed? Probably back in the old Reader days, when I used the website The Old Reader, which was what happened after Google Reader shut down. It was just like RSS feeds used to be semi-popular, but then like I think they just wanted to filter you through YouTube and everything so they could push you through more ads instead of encouraging you to visit other websites, God forbid.
Let's go right into our weekly recaps, because Mint and I have been getting ready to set off on a journey to Road Rage LA2.
All the way across the country.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm going to do a lot of vlogging and a lot of watching movies and movie reviews.
That's right, because we are also doing on this channel, Mint Madness, which is a whole month of non-plagiarized movie reviews.
Yeah. Better enjoy them, because they're good.
Yeah, they're all going to be right out of Mint's brain.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have edited them. And if you were to take what she said and run it through a script reader, you would not get a ping with anyone else's reviews, I promise.
What I've done this week, I made this amazing video about literally reviewing every live-action anime ever. And
We're not talking about that yet. That is our Animates segment at the end.
Oh, okay.
So we'll come back to talking about that video. Talk about the circumstances around it.
Yeah, I mean, what led me to making it was that after we did the podcast last week, you and I were talking, and I was like... Basically, I was saying that I was trying to figure out what is, like, the zeitgeist right now of what's going on in the anime sphere. And, like, there's a lot of people talking about live-action adaptations, how much they suck, how there's a bunch more coming. And so it got me curious about the history of them. And I thought, what if I just, like, reviewed all of them that exist? And then looking into it, it's like there's hundreds of them. There's so many. But it was interesting to just cover the first 40 years of, like, 1959 to 1999 before it got, like, too crazy. And that's what I ended up doing in this video. But yeah, it was just like a very sudden, like, I have this idea, I'm going to do all of it immediately because I was already working on other projects. So I'm like, I don't want to interrupt everything with this new thing and then have it take forever too. It has to happen right away if it's going to happen. So I made it, and hopefully the video grows and does well.
Yeah.
Because I really think it's a good concept.
I like it. It's a good video. And I really like watching you... from start to finish, conceptualize and then produce and then release a video within like a day or two. Mm-hmm. That's always fun. It's like rewarding, I guess, to like see the process, because my process usually takes a lot longer for something as high quality as that.
It really just... Something I realized I need to embrace about my career is that I am a list addict. I just love making lists. Anything that I can do that comes into the form of a list will be easier for me to do because I just like doing it. So the fact that this project basically involved tracking down as many of these as I could find and making a list of them in chronological order, and then going down that list one by one, just watching each thing until I didn't care anymore, and could have like figured out, okay, this is what it is, and then move on to the next one, and then just the video then writing the script is going down the list, summarizing what I thought of each thing, and the editing the same. So like that formula works really well for me and is easier for me to get something done quickly. So I'm gonna try to find more ways that I can like use my natural tendency to make lists to spur on something that's not like a list video per se,
Sure, yeah.
Hey, Trixie, what's your favorite list you've made?
Oh, God.
No, actually, what are your favorite 3 lists? And could you list those?
Yes.
My list of my 3 favorite lists. Oh, God. Like, you've really got me tunneling through my mind. I'm thinking about how, like, I have this one notebook that's just so perfect for listing. Like, I will buy notebooks that are well formatted to making lists and just fill them with, like, the best lists of, you know, whatever is my favorite stuff at the moment or whatever I'm trying to figure out. Recently, I made a list of just all of my work that I still consider presentable, like, that I still consider to be my catalog, basically. I spent a few days just like building this massive Google document. It actually started as a list of all the media that I know of that I want to consume. And like and then
like that you haven't consumed
yeah.
or including rewatching.
Including rewatching. So everything I know I want to rewatch or haven't seen yet that I know I want to see, I made a gigantic list of that. And then out of that, I pulled out a list of shows I know I want to talk about, so that I can, you know, look at that as, okay, this is all the stuff that I might make a video about one day. And then I was like, well, I should have a list of everything I have made a video about that I still consider, you know, something I'm going to show to people. So I made that list, and it's like a 100-page Google document. So I might have to add some table of contents to it to make it accessible and eventually make it, you know,
a list for a list. I love
a list
it.
for a list.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Trixie, your fans are gonna love this.
It's so meta.
It's exactly what your fans
It's
want.
listception, you know?
Yeah. It's autistic. That's what it is. Autistic.
That's another great list. Is the autism quotient quiz that I made, which is basically like 125 different things that are like, if you do this, you might, you know, it means it's a symptom, and so it's just like 120 symptoms of autism that you can check off for yourself if you want. And I released that as a Google Doc at some point onto the internet.
I took that test and I exceeded the values. I was 130. All right. I have
Out of what?
10 points extra. I was given 10 points because I have that much autism.
Incredible. You broke the test. You made it had to be rewritten. I mean, I could sit there and probably ask you for like more, because I was asking people for more questions to add, like, hey, what's some other stuff that would, you know, and people tweeted some stuff that I added to it. So
Do you like Sonic the Hedgehog?
that's on there, obviously.
No.
There's a few, and I also denote like what age you had, like, you know, do you like Sonic as an adult? Do you like Thomas the Tank Engine as an adult? You know, these are some pretty obvious ones.
What was your week like, Bird?
I made a vegan curry, which was pretty alright. It had...
Here we go. Content. You and Mint, talk about what you cooked this week.
I cooked hash.
It's Bird's turn, Mint. It is currently Bird's turn, and it's really rude of you. And it speaks to the matriarchy that you would oppress Bird this way by speaking over him.
You know what? My apologies. Bird, continue, please.
So
Sir.
anyway, I made a vegan curry. I started off frying some garlic, ginger, lemongrass, and there was a fuck ton of stuff in this, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in the curry. It has peanut butter in it. It has
peanut butter, coconut milk at that stage, and then shallots, like 6 of them.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, shallots are great.
were there mushrooms.
No,
There were
never.
carrots.
There were carrots. There was a can of crushed tomatoes.
Basically, it was a
lot
curry.
of curry powder.
It was a nice thick, good, Indian style kind of curry.
Sorta, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not really, but as best as I can make it. And
But you weren't
because it was,
disappointed in spite of it being vegan.
I mean, of course I was disappointed.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I've not had a lot of good curry. I've only had bad curry made by a couple of my sisters.
I see.
And I only had one good curry once, and it was at a wedding.
Huh.
And Bird, I want you to blow me away with your curry next time you make it.
All right. And then what else did I add? So I added golden beets, carrots.
Golden beets.
Some
Those
other
beets are
weird
golden.
ass
Are they on fire? Because you gotta roast them. Ha!
Sriracha?
Potatoes. I had little tiny potatoes. A lot of sriracha. Some of the potatoes were purple.
Red
Fancy
pepper flakes.
potatoes.
A bunch of little tiny sweet bell peppers as well. Those are a lot of fun to just throw into something. I mostly use curry as a way to disguise eating a bunch of vegetables.
I wouldn't eat any of that shit.
Yeah. But
I'm like, you didn't mention Chick-fil-A sauce. There's no Whopper ingredients that you're saying out loud.
Chick-fil-A
what's going
sauce
on?
has seed oils. You can't seed oil bag.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
I love Chick-fil-A. We're a pro Chick-fil-A podcast.
Their grilled nuggets
Seed
are
oils
great.
are good.
Seed oil is bad.
Is seed oil bad? What's the seed oil shit? I keep seeing people tweet about seed oil.
If you don't eat seed oil, supposedly, you don't get sunburned, and you feel better generally. Seed oils are like canola oil, peanut oil, soybean oil.
They just got like bad fat in them.
Yeah, they
That's
have
just
too much concentrated. Fucking omega something.
It's a thing.
I'm not a scientist.
Mint, what did you cook?
I cooked some fried rice. So I started with cutting up a shallot. I kind of diced that shit up.
Only one.
Only one, because it was for myself. And then I put some tomatoes, some carrots, some cabbage, and I also put that in after I caramelized the onions. They're not onions, they're shallots. After I
Shallots are
caramelized
onions.
the shallots, yeah. And then after that, I put in some broccoli. Broccoli's good. And then after that, and then I put an egg, and then I put the
Did
rice
you
in.
scramble the egg first?
I did scramble the egg first. You gotta let it kind of sit so it kind of hardens. So when you go to scrape it off the bottom, it doesn't leave as much residue.
And did you cook your rice a day in advance?
No. But that's okay, because I like wet things.
Jesus
What?
Christ. What?
I like wet rice. I don't mind it being so wet. So I also put sriracha and some soy sauce in the mix.
Soy. You're a soy boy.
exactly.
I like
I
the
bet you
soy
voted for
sauce.
Biden. Just for anyone who doesn't know, Mint's mom sent in a mail-in voting registration thing for Biden on her behalf, and then told her about it and was like, I thought you would want me to do this, and she's like, what the fuck? Anyway,
It's a strange experience.
so did you cook anything else this week?
This was actually just yesterday. I was grilling steaks that I had used sriracha, pepper, garlic, and salt on, just, pretty regular, and I smoked them. But right before I put them on the grill, I had set them down on the table, and Daisy, the German Shepherd dog we live with, stole one of my steaks. And so I was pretty
Fucking
upset at
bitch.
that.
Steak thief.
Did it?
She's not getting any food from me for a while. I mean, she's getting like dog food, but I mean, like she's not
any steak.
no steak,
You
no
usually
chicken.
No
give her
scraps.
pieces of the cooked steak.
Yeah,
She broke that trust, man.
She ate a
She can never
whole
get
fucking
the scraps
steak.
back.
It's impressive.
That's like scraps for 120 days. I don't know. How much do you give her?
a lot.
Usually.
I give the dogs
Okay.
a fair amount of food, but I like a month. The steak turned out pretty good. When I seared it, the sriracha kind of burned, but it ended up tasting really great. Anyway, what else did I cook? Another curry, but with chicken in it, and that was fine.
Have you made a chicken masala before?
Yeah, the curry with chicken was close to chicken tikka masala, but it was just kind of me adding a bunch of stuff until it tasted
Curry
like
is just
tikka
an
masala.
excuse to go mad, basically. You just do whatever
And the
you
vegan
want.
curry, I also used dark chocolate, which is a
Oh, yum.
yeah, it's a fun thing to use in curry.
Chocolate isn't very vegan.
Chocolate's vegan.
I thought it has milk in it, or is it like a
No,
Milk
it's not
chocolate.
Milk chocolate.
milk chocolate? So you use
it
a dark
was-
chocolate
yeah,
then?
70
The chocolate's a bean, stupid. What are you, dumb?
There's a chocolate bean.
Are
I
you
forgot
dumb?
about them.
Stupid.
or dumb.
Chocolate is a bean.
Chocolate's a bean. Oh yeah, cacao bean. Have you ever
Chocolate
seen?
is a bean.
Have you seen a cacao pod? It's crazy. It's like a.
I have not.
It's a big orange pod that you have to crack in half, and then there's a bunch of little of the cocoa beans. It's really wild.
Sounds like an alien egg.
It does kind of look like that.
Are we now going to talk about
Pokemon! Yeah, let's do it.
Pokemon.
That's our title topic today. Pokemon's Gen 9 games, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, are coming out in late 2022 and the starters are out now. This happened way closer to the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus than anyone thought they'd move on. The announcement trailer does say that the new games take place in an open world environment, like Arceus, so we'll see how that turns out. The Arceus game only had the open worldness of it sort of lost because of the hub city atmosphere. There was one city, and then you could go to different sort of like safari park adventure areas outside of that hub city. But it touts open world, and it doesn't hit as hard as most open worlds do.
It sounds more like open world in the way that an MMORPG, when you're like in one zone of it, And it's like you're just kind of
Right.
going into town, getting a quest, leaving, doing a quest, and like, technically it's
Feels like Fable.
Open.
Like old school Fable.
yeah.
I wanted it to be more like the games, where you explore in between cities, like open world like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the open world environments are just the paths and stuff, and then there's big cities still.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite game. If Game Freak made that, I would love Pokemon again.
Yeah. You'd finally play more.
Yes.
We'll get into our favorites about the Pokemon franchise and stuff like that. But first, I want to talk about the starter Pokemon. They've been released. We've seen them. I've sent them to you in the group chat, so you guys can all pull them up while we talk about them. There is the internet's favorite new Pokemon, the Weed Cat.
Meowiwana.
Yeah, Maui-Wana. It's a grass-themed kitten starter named Sprigatito. Sprigatito? It's a Spain-based
Yeah,
region.
I did know that. That's
So Sprigatito, described as a capricious, attention-seeking grass cat Pokemon, the fire starter is Fuecoco,
Fuecoco's
described
the best.
as a laid-back fire croc Pokemon that does things at its own
Oh, he's
pace.
a croc.
I hope his final evolution is him smoking weed. Because he's so relaxed.
He does look
Dude,
like...
they're all gonna be weed
the way he's
Pokemon.
posed, you can very easily slide a blunt between those fingers, no doubt.
I do not like the top nib though. Because
nib?
because it's not like fire themed. The other one
It looks grass, huh?
It looks to me like it's a ground
I can see
fire
that.
type Pokemon.
I hope the evolutions make up for it.
Yeah, I hope so too, but
What do you think the shinies are going to look like?
I definitely think that head thing will turn into some kind of hair or a headpiece or something in the next evolution. That would...
yeah, I hope for that.
Speaking of head things, our last new
yeah.
starter is Quaxley.
Big
Really?
It's a duck in a blue hat named Quaxley.
A blue hat. I read this as like almost like a pompadour, like a
Okay, like the hair, like
I think-
JoJo hair.
Yes, I think he's gonna be like a 90s style anime gangster, like
He's
guy.
Here's the description: an earnest and tidy duckling Pokemon.
Okay, well that's the
Ernest.
opposite direction I was thinking.
And tidy.
Yeah.
His hair reminds me of Trump's hair.
It's a little.
He looks like one of Donald Duck's.
I think it's a
nephews.
hat.
Do you?
It
Think,
might be hair though.
Do you think that is like just a shine in his hair, or that those are his eyebrows, like up above?
It's
his...
a hat. It's
It's his
little thing
eyebrows.
he's got on his head.
Yeah,
think-
I don't know.
I think
it
it's
might.
meant to
We'll see it in
contribute to his
animation.
expression one way or another, like for sure.
Did you guys watch the ad for this? The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet announcement
Yeah.
trailer?
The promo.
It was really weird,
trailer?
wasn't it? Like, why
Yes.
why was that guy wandering around in there? What was going on with
Oh
it
yeah,
at
the whole
all?
police guy framing device. That shit was fucking strange. It's just like a dude wandering around like an old house.
A room.
Yeah, and then like he sees a screen and it comes on and it just like plays the trailer for the game and then it cuts back to him and he's like, "Oh, I found a switch." And it's like, what the hell was the point
it
of
was
the
a Switch
3
OLED.
minutes of that? That
Is
was
it
in
a
this 5-minute
detective
trailer?
Pokemon reference? I thought it was like, oh, it's
could be.
like Detective Pokemon. How
is
it's
a-
like there's a Pokemon detective.
I,
I don't know. I
It just
fucking
felt
know.
I
like
did
there
not
was-
watch this, so I'm very confused listening to your
Mint,
description.
you're the
of
worst
it.
podcaster.
It's basically just this trailer starts with like a Japanese police officer walks into like a building that's just like an old house or something, and he goes into this room where there's like stuff everywhere, like
really cool old stuff.
yeah, just like old antique looking stuff all over the place, and he's just like very tepidly investigating with a flashlight, and then like a screen comes on, and it's like this overwhelming light, and he's like drawn towards it, and then we go into the screen. And it's just, a trailer for the new Pokemon games that plays out, and then it shows the starters, and like at that point it's edited like a YouTube video. So it's very weird to think that this is what would be playing in this scene with all this build up that feels so disconnected. And then it just like jumps back to the detective at the end again, like and there's like a white switch has appeared in the room.
That's the OLED Switch. It's the new Switch Pro or whatever.
Okay, so that's what the purpose
So it's
of
like a
this
Switch
framing
ad,
device
too.
is to, yes, okay, that makes sense. It's to show off that in this room he was in, the OLED screen was so fucking
Oh,
bright.
it lit up the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I only
think
played
that might be what
Pokemon
it's going
Arceus on PS4, so I don't even recognize what the Switch looks like.
You can do that? No, you can't.
I can do anything I want.
I can do anything you can do better.
So, discussion topic. Are these good starters? Let's start with Trixie.
I think, okay, so with the previous gen, they got a lot of flack for the fact that the 3 starters all kind of looked the same. They all were just kind of 2 circles. One, big head circle, small body circle, with a little bit of extra onto it. But, like, the duck right away has such a weird head shape that stood out to me, like, just the blocky nature of that top part is not common to these starters. And then, like, one of them is one big, long cylinder type thing with a couple, like, chonk legs on it. And then the cat is, like, a little bit more generic as Pokemon designs go, but it's really cute, and it's a grass cat, and it's a cat and grass starter. I just think it's easily posed to be popular, so...
Bird, do you think these are good starters?
Yeah, I really like all of them. They look cute. All of the last gen, the Sword and Shield ones, they all just kind of are like an oval head and then small body, and I think their final evolutions are cool. But these ones look unique enough. They look different.
So I'm looking at these starters, and I do like them compared to the starters from Gen 5, for example. I didn't like those starters that much.
Which one is
You don't like
Gen
Tepig?
5?
Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott.
Oh, Snivy's the goat.
Oshawott is, like, one of my all-time favorite Pokemon.
Oshawott is my favorite, but I do not like the designs of Snivy or Tagpig so much that I do not...
the goat.
That I do not like the rest of the...
Actually, Snivy's not a goat. Snivy looks to be more like a snake.
Yeah, Snivy becomes superior.
If we're getting right into it, like, my least favorite designs would probably be Gen 4 for starters.
What?
Hold on,
you don't
Trixie.
Like Turtwig?
Turtwig is fine. I don't feel that attached to him. Because he's too much like Bulbasaur, and I love Bulbasaur. Like, that's...
Bulbasaur's not a turtle, though. He's like a flower.
Yeah, they just kind of look very similar, though. They occupy too similar of a space in my mind. Their third evolutions are kind of similar as well. It just felt like, okay, this is just a next gen Venusaur.
I actually didn't bring any negative opinions into the podcast. Only positive questions and positive takes here. Mint Salad, are these good starters? You were finishing.
Was going to compliment the color usage of the Weed Cat. I really like the pink eyes, and it contrasts well with the green body of it. And it's just enough pink on the design where it helps accent the design. It is a simple design. When I first looked at it, I was like, okay, this could have been a little bit more design, but it is cute. I agree with Trixie there. The fire crocodile, little weird to me. The head things, as I mentioned, I don't really like.
It's hair.
But I do like the skull thing, the skull face. I do dig that. But it is a little bit too chunky for me. Like, it's not what I would imagine a fire type Pokemon to be.
No fat Pokemon.
Well, I mean, we don't know what because these days they almost always are dual type by the end. So, like, there's probably some kind of hint towards the dual typing in each of these. I would bet the pink eyes means psychic or fairy for the cat's final evolution,
Maybe flying in water for the duck.
Could be. Yeah, he could be flying.
Makes sense.
And I don't know what we're going to get.
The crocodile maybe ground and fire, right? Or,
yeah, you might be right, Mint. It might be a ground type.
I also like the chunky head of the Quaxly.
Quaxly.
Yeah.
Quaxly.
He is
The
cool.
name is not very recognizable.
Quaxly?
Quaxly
I think it's kind of fucking
the
perfect.
Strangest Pokemon starter name, I think.
I really am, like, as I look at all of the starters next to each other, like, Quaxly's head really does have the most unique shape. Like, nothing else is comparable to it, and it's really strange that it would take them so long to land on something so simple like
The hair, though. The hair is a Twitter bird.
It's a hat.
It's a Twitter bird.
This kind
Have
of
you looked
Twitter
at it?
logo.
There was a meme that I saw of the cat is 4chan.
Okay. What's
The crocodile is Reddit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on from that internet poisoning
quick question.
conversation.
Yeah,
what's up?
With the crocodile, Fuecoco, do you think he's going to have 4 legs and be, like, down on all fours, or he's going to be standing at his final evolution?
Standing. He's gonna get standier.
Yeah, I think
Like
so,
because
too.
he's already standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I thought he was going to be like a dragon type, but Crocodile makes sense.
Maybe fire and dragon then. That would make sense. Maybe he's a croc dragon.
I also
Fireground
think he
has a lot
looks
of weaknesses.
I think there's another possibility here because the white face is really distinctive.
Fire ghost. But
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe
they just did that with Typhlosion in the last game.
Typhlosion.
Yeah, the new
I mean-
Typhlosion.
Oh, because they changed his typing for the new.
Yeah, he became fire and ghost instead of
Oh,
just fire.
ew, that's awful.
Oh, he looks
I have not
really cool, actually. I'll
looked
send a
in-
picture.
oh.
I'm behind on Pokemon.
Me too.
But that's okay. I had some subsections I wanted us to discuss, like what makes a good starter. Mm-hmm. And I want to know what your favorite Gen 9, what your favorite of these new starters is. Mine's the Weed Cat. I wish I could pronounce the name. Spaghetto. I'll just do it like Tony from Back to the Movies. Spaghetto.
Spaghetti cat.
Can you
Spaghetti.
send the text for me so I can see what it looks like?
The cat's name, you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to send a picture.
I have. It's in the group chat.
Oh,
Spaghetti.
I send all my show notes because I'm a good podcast host.
My favorite of the three. It's like I have to say the duck because it's just so goddamn memorable and distinct. Like the cat, I could see having forgotten was like a starter unless the third evolution is something really cool. Like same goes for the little fire guy. He looks like a bad guy from like a Bomberman game or something. Like he just looks like cannon fodder thing you would blow up in a platform by like just stepping on its head.
okay.
So you're a big Quaxley fan.
Quaxley has the poise, the dignity, the gumption, the eyes that go the distance. He's definitely.
I'm glad we're going the distance.
Forgot about that. He's got the legs
Alright.
and he can go the distance.
I have a
damn it.
really easy way to remember how to pronounce the weed cat's name, and that is Sprigatito a la Despacito.
Sprigatito.
It's a good.
Is that really what I was pronounced? Sprigatito?
It looks like it, yeah.
Sprigatito. I don't like it.
Sprigatito.
I'm calling it Weed Cat forever.
Fuego.
It's spaghetti cat.
Meow-iwana.
Spaghetti Cat? Okay.
Yeah.
Spaghetti and weed, my two favorite things.
Yum.
It's funny because like Fuecoco and Sprigatito are like Spanish Latin names, and then Quaxley seems British.
Well, Quaxley's a duck pun. And yeah,
Well, I know.
it does seem like it's British.
Are these based off of real people or?
What? Based off real
What do you
people.
They're based off of Spain. They're based off
The
of
game
Spanish.
is going to be in Spain.
Yeah,
Ah.
it's gonna be, you know, their names are probably all puns, just like any other Pokemon name, just translated into Spanish. Which is
Yeah.
interesting because it makes me wonder if they'll have the same names in Japanese and in English. Because normally the Pokemon have in Japanese have Japanese puns for names, and then they change them to English. And it's one of the most confusing things about trying to watch Japanese Pokemon is like hearing them referred to by like often much longer names that don't mean anything to you. But yeah, it's interesting that they would have Pokemon that are named after like Spanish, because then it's like, well, there'd be no reason to change it anywhere unless they just weren't going that route with the Japanese version.
I have the
Right.
Japanese names
Okay,
of the starters. Just the
Okay,
most
they did
recent
not go
ones.
with Spanish names for the Japanese.
What are the
version.
Japanese names
So
for these?
Sprigatito is named
Weed Cat.
Nyauha.
Nya-
Okay.
Nyauha.
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 Fuecoco is called Hogita. And then Quaxley is called Kiwas.
I think it would be Hoge.
Quass. I like that.
Okay.
Hoge.
I'm glad Bird pronounced the
Hoge.
Japanese names instead of Trixie. We wouldn't want anyone to know what they're doing.
No, never. I did
Yeah,
the Googling.
Trixie, what makes a good starter to you is memorability then? Like just how
Yeah,
like
I would say
memorable
so.
they are?
Like-
how impression.
Because for me, like, as a Gen 1er who grew up with Pokemon as a huge part of my life as soon as it cracked the West, like, the starters all had giant plushies and stuff that, like, you know, I carried around a Charmander for years. My brother had Squirtle, and Shade had a Pikachu, but because they never made Bulbasaur toys. I guess it was just too difficult at the time. They did later. But, you know, like, when Gen 2 came along, like, just by virtue of it being like, wow, these are 3 more starters, they were kind of just as memorable because it was the only other ones that existed. But then when we got to Gen 3, like Trico was kind of like a line was crossed for me where I was like, Trico is. I like his evolutions, but I just always thought he looked really dorky, and it was just he's the least cute starter that we had so far.
Well, no, he's serious. He's a ninja.
Yeah. I mean, I like the ninja concept with Froakie better. I think Froakie's fucking adorable. So, like, for me, Gen 3 was, like, starting to lose interest, and, like, I also never beat that game. Gen 4 I never played at all, so that's the only Pokemon Gen up until now with the new one coming out that I haven't ever played.
We should get Shining Diamond or Brilliant Pearl.
I would like to,
And Arceus.
You guys should definitely do that. Bird, what's your favorite Gen 9 starter?
The most recent is Gen 9? Okay, I like Hui Coco, yeah.
Okay. And Mint, what's yours?
Weed Cat.
So, me and Mint, ASC presents Weed Cat all the way. Bird, you're a Fuecoco kind of guy. That makes sense. And Trixie, the Golden Witch, is a Quaxley trainer. Is that what I'm gathering here?
Yep, I like ducks, so...
I like ducks. All right. The other sub-questions would be, what's your favorite Pokemon game? What's your favorite starter? So usually those are connected.
Yes,
like, for me, they're connected. My favorite starter is... Man, it's always between Torchic and Cyndaquil. But I would have to pick Cyndaquil because my favorite game is Heart Gold. So...
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heart Gold was a classic.
Emerald's a close second.
I still want to play Emerald because that's, considered the best of Gen 3. And I know there's the remakes, and my brother Victor loves the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire games. I played some of that, and even though I think, it's good and I'll probably beat it, it just feels so very different from the original that I feel like I still have to get that experience before I could talk about it the same way that people who've played it have. Or do.
I would agree, yeah.
But yeah, my favorite game, because this goes like all the way back through all my memories. So the game I played the most was the first one, just because that was the height of Pokemon addiction. And I started with Bulbasaur, and I got it up to like level 98 or something like that. And I was trying to get to 100, but then Game Shark ruined my game because I'm an idiot. So
what did you do?
I tried to use cheat codes, and like it expressly says on there, like, because there's like all these codes to supposedly get like these, rumored Pokemon into the game, like Blue Chew, which is what we knew Meryl as at the time.
Oh, you were actually trying to like hack your game. You weren't just trying to like get a bunch of Master
Well, that's what a Game
Balls.
Shark is. It's like you plug your game into this thing, and
It's
you plug
like
that into the
it's
Game
a little
Boy.
rectangular thing. It's like
Yeah.
Action
an adapter.
replay.
Yeah,
It's like an action replay, yeah. And you... So it basically brings up sub-menus that let you enter in codes and stuff like that. But it explicitly says, there's like a sticker on the device when you get it that says, like, if you use this with Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, it can cause this, like, malfunction in the game. And I'm just got this thing for Christmas, like, expressly under the impression it would help me hack my Pokemon game. So I just, like, peeled that sticker off and was like, nah, I'm gonna ignore that. Fucked up my save. So... it was mortifying.
I played Emerald on a ROM and had nothing but good experiences with my Game Shark emulating.
Oh, perfect.
So,
I was an action replay kid.
I used a lot of the action replay on Pokemon Diamond for sure.
I was just good at games, and then I caught the Pokemon and was good with that,
Yeah.
Played a lot of White with action replay, and at the time there was a Pokemon Bank feature free, and I could transfer all my shiny Pokemon that I caught in Pokemon White to my copy of X. And that was the best Pokemon experience
you mean
ever.
your fake Pokemon?
Yeah, all my fake Pokemon I could trade with people. It was pretty
That's
great.
awful. You're a bad guy.
Yeah. That's how you make money. You gotta hustle. You gotta
That's how you
hustle
make
the shinies.
money.
You gotta hustle the shinies. Come on. And I'm so devastated that they took away the feature and you had to pay for that shit. I was like so sad, like cry.
Do they even have Pokemon Bank anymore? Is that even a thing?
No, you just have to pay for it.
That's okay.
So my favorite Pokemon games are Emerald, Platinum, and Heart Gold. And my favorite starters out of that are Cyndaquil, Turtwig, and Mudkip. Because Mudkip's the best.
I'm still like struggling to decide what is my favorite, because I think like Fire Red is like almost perfectly made. It's really fun
It
to
is
return
really
to.
good. That was my first Pokemon game, and I chose Charmander.
I really enjoyed Black and White, and X and Y. Although X and Y is like horribly unbalanced for the purpose of trying to catch all the Pokemon. Because that's been the way I've been trying to play Pokemon as an adult. Is like fill the Pokédex, because it forces you to use all the systems in the game. Like whatever they put in there, they based some kind of Pokemon around that mechanic so that you would use the mechanic. And like, so, you know, it is the way to get the most out of it, but by the time you get to X and Y, where there's like 450 Pokemon in the game, it just requires so much goddamn grinding and trading and stuff to get them all. But
You know, I was different. I didn't like catching the Pokemon. I liked catching specific Pokemon to help me in battles, just to not lose ever in a battle. So I'd research the Pokemon beforehand, or what's the best team, or what's this and that.
Right.
And then I would catch those Pokemon. And I, at one point, had the entire effectives, non-effectives chart memorized. And I have some of it still memorized, but they changed it since then.
Oh, and just to pick my favorite starter, because I've been staring at it trying to decide, like, Bulbasaur is the one I feel the most attachment to, in spite of Charmander being the one that was my favorite as a kid. But Oshawott is, I fucking love Oshawott. It's so goddamn adorable. I love otters. I don't like his evolutions as much, which is kind of a shame.
Same here.
I really like Rowlet and his evolutions a whole lot. But
Yeah,
Oshawott's probably my favorite
Decidueye. Decidueye,
Yeah.
the design of Decidueye is masterful.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
it so
that.
much. It's like a Robin Hood owl. It's
Have you seen
so
the new
excellent.
Decidueye, man?
I have not. No.
He's now a grass fighting type.
Ooh,
And
that sounds
he's
fun.
more red. I really like Rowlet. He's cool. Grookey? Is that what he's called?
Grokey.
Grokey. Whatever the fuck that monkey is named, from the same as Scorbunny. His evolution is really cool. I like the drum theme. That's who I played Sword and Shield, and that's who I played with.
My favorite Pokemon games have to be Pokemon White, because that was the first Pokemon game that I completed by myself without my brother's help, also with the action replay. But I also enjoy X a lot because of the customization of the character, and that was the most customizing you could do.
I actually still have a video up on somewhere that's called like Pokemon Trainer Chic, the 2016 winter look, and it's just like about how styling my fucking character was in that game, because yeah, you really could like create different whole looks, and it was nice. I want more of that, and instead we got less.
Did
Man,
we
I
get
wish-
less? Have you played the new games? Do you
I
know?
haven't played the
Well,
latest
they've
game.
taken that feature out, and then they did for the Ruby ones. They were like, "Well, we're gonna have hideouts instead." Remember from Emerald, and then they were like, for the next game, they had some other new system.
They have a
I think it was
tendency
just
to
the
upend all of their features every game.
the Dynamo Pokemon or something, Dynamax Pokemon are the big deal, and they Game Freak hasn't realized yet that we want pageants, battles, clothing, hideouts. We want them all in one game.
right.
That's it. We
All
just
the
want them
good
all
stuff,
in one.
like all the stuff that works. Keep
Yeah, I
it.
want to play the Pokemon anime. I want to run around and do pageants if I have pretty Pokemon Weed Cats, and I want to do battles if I have cool Pokemon Fire Crocodiles, and I want to, there's like different player types, and I think that's probably what Gen 3 did the best, was appeal to the different player types with pageants.
I think X and Y really tried to lean in on the idea of, like, there were these 5 different friends who you were hanging out with, and each of them had their own goals, where, like, one of them is the pageant one of them is the I just want to learn all the moves for all the Pokemon, I just want to see the world of Pokemon, so, like, it was kind of trying to say, hey, look, you can be any of these people, and it makes just as much sense, but nonetheless, it still compels you on the path of just, like, doing the main storyline, regardless of what your goals are.
Also, I'd have to say my favorite Pokemon starters have to be Oshawott, because it's cute, and Razor Shell, great move for Oshawott to use.
Yes,
Like,
awesome
great
move.
stab attack and whatnot. A really good evolution, final evolution, Greninja. Greninja is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's a character.
Everyone
in
likes
Smash.
Greninja.
Well, actually, so
And-
is Incineroar.
And the Ash Greninja is great as well. Especially the scene where you got Greninja and Ash forming in the anime. Mm-hmm. That's a great scene. Great battle scene.
Someone help me here. What is Ash's Greninja?
Yeah, Ash and Greninja like fuse into each other in the show.
So we've all answered that.
Yep.
There's not much further to go in this topic, unless you all just want to talk about what your favorite Pokemon is outside of starters. Mine's Luxray. I love that little lightning lion. Shinx is adorable. Shinx, I always thought it's a shame that there's not like a trend of electric non-starter, like playable from the beginning characters in games. Like Pokemon Yellow lets you Pikachu.
Yeah.
Shinx would have made a great starter if there were electric ones.
I agree. I think that makes sense. Although he only has one evolution, but they could have.
No.
He has 2 evolutions.
Shinx,
does he?
Luxio, Luxray.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, no, it's a whole family. Trixie, what's your favorite Pokemon and Pokemon family?
Oh man. Well, I really love Garchomp, especially because in X and Y he was just like an unstoppable force to have.
True.
He is an unstoppable force.
Yeah, he's just like the
Garchomp's wild.
Garchomp is just like the sickest Pokemon. He's just like the sharpest, most fucking most fuck you. Just a cool looking, powerful land shark.
Yeah.
All the dragons and all the other stuff are like a little bit generic by comparison to this like monstrosity of a shark not in water. But I also like a lot of the cutesy ones. I was really into Sliggoo in X and Y. Goodra is also cute, but like disgusting in a way that like, and I really liked the whole like snail aesthetic before it evolved into that. So it was kind of weird that it just turned into like a big dragon thing. But
fair enough.
Oshawott again is one of my favorite Pokemon. Period. He is a starter, obviously, but Munchlax is great, and like there's tons and tons of good Pokemon, but those are the ones who have like been my favorites over the years. Like Charmander was as a kid, but Munchlax was my answer for a long time. Oshawott's kind of taken his place even as like my most iconic. Like I just want to buy plushies of this thing and look at it type Pokemon. But in terms of like stuff that's fun to use in battle, Garchomp is kind of king. He's kind of the fucking beast.
Yeah. My childhood favorite was Lugia. I loved Lugia. Not so much anymore, but my new favorite has to be Sylveon.
Sylveon,
the fairy
Sylveon. Yeah,
Eevee.
fairy Eevee evolution.
Yeah, and I just love all the evolutions. My favorite Pokemon family. I just like the...
Yeah, Vaporeon, especially shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny Umbreon and shiny Vaporeon are 2 of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. I just love the black and blue shiny.
Unquestionably, like, all iconic. It's just, like, by matter of the mere concept of it, like, all of them have to be instantly... And, like, I feel like everybody has certain evolutions that they really love and certain ones that they totally dismiss, but it's different for everyone. Like, I know a lot of people who just don't give a fuck about Flareon at all. Like, wouldn't even remember, wouldn't even think of Flareon on, like, the list. For me, the original 3 obviously had the most impact because I had them from the beginning. But
I really like Leafeon. I remember when Leafeon came. Leafeon and Glaceon, they look real cool, and I like them a lot.
I guess Glaceon's my forgotten one.
Yeah,
that's the one I forgot there was. No, Espeon. I just remembered Espeon, so that's the forgotten one.
My forgotten one is Vaporeon. No.
Well, maybe
is
you
the
can't forget about
Voltron.
Vaporeon.
Whatever the
Voltron?
electric one is.
Volteon.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, there you go. That's how we know that's your forgotten one, Volteon. The electric one, Jolteon.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Like
Jolteon.
a jolt of electricity. Like it's one of the fastest Pokemon. I think Speed Form Deoxys is like faster, but I think it's one of the fastest.
The thing about the evolutions as well is that I think in the first gen they were kind of meant to be like a mid-tier carry through like the middle of the game for a period when like you might need one of the 3, like those 3 elements, like if you haven't got a decent electric or water or fire on your team, here's like a freebie because you get the Eevee for free, and I think, in the first game.
Yeah.
And then
you're
you
just
can
giving it.
find the stones to just buy, and you can evolve it whenever the hell you want. And so, like, it's basically just like, here's a free Pokemon to use for a while. Until you get into the later game where there's more electric and fire types, because they're just, like, I guess considered more powerhouse typings in the early gens. But then, like, I think just because of the sheer popularity of the evolutions, they started buffing them up, and like I think the second gen with Umbreon and Espeon, they were like more esoteric usage type things where it's like, all right, you know, psychic and dark, you can use these in like particular circumstances. But then like Sylveon is like, I feel like a mainstay type. Like, it's actually a useful Pokemon.
Fairy is a really overpowered type. It's kind of crazy that they just...
I really want a plushie of her.
Why haven't we been getting
Those
new
are around.
evolutions? Do you think we'll get one for Gen 9?
Maybe a
That'd be
ghost
cool.
one.
Yeah, Ghost or Dragon.
Yeah.
A Dragon evolution would be the shit. Or Steel.
Yeah,
A
that'd be
Steel
There's
Eevee?
types to do.
Steelion.
Yeah. Steelion.
That's...
Steelion. I mean, I'm surprised.
It's like a Jolteon, but metal.
I would
Like-
have to assume that basically they keep that like up the sleeve as something that they have to pull out every once in a while when it's like, all right, we're gonna do like this is gonna be our trump cards. We're gonna pull another evolution, but we gotta make them last.
Or even like a ground or rock type. That's not a...
Yeah.
That's not one.
I mean, there's plenty of types that don't
Flying.
have evolutions. I think their
Flying.
mindset is
There's no
probably
flying.
we can't
Flying.
keep adding new types forever, but we also don't want to run out all the types we have and then never
A
be able to do
poison
another
evolution might be interesting.
Ooh, that would be nice.
I'm realizing how many Pokemon types there are. I'm like, fuck. I
There's
just,
18 of them.
That's too many.
Fighting?
Yeah. Yeah, anytime that the ratings drop too low on these games, we're going to get a new evolution, so don't worry.
So,
I just thought of another favorite Pokemon, Mudsdale.
Mudsdale's dope. Oh,
Mudsdale
that's
is a
awesome.
That sounds like a
ground
place I don't want to go.
is a ground horse.
Yeah.
What?
He's a ground
It's a horse. Yeah, it's
I
great.
used him in Sword and Shield, and it was amazing. He's like
he's
real
a
good.
powerhouse for sure.
So Mint and I have a sort of shitposty idea, because just real quick, I don't want to make another Patrick Michael comic book too soon, because he'll change his entire show. Like we bullied him into changing his show, apparently. I don't know. In his Free Water episode, he talks about how he doesn't want anybody like stealing his branding and using it, and I was like, that could only be a reference to our comic book. That's why he changed the briefcase to Free Water. So I don't want to make the sequel to that for a while. Because the sequel will obviously play off of the Free Water arc and force him to do something new. So I'm gonna wait till the end of the year. I want to do a Pokemon like manga with Mint, where it's set in the Western America, like Western America era, and the cowboys ride horse Pokemon, and they instead of
Yeah.
gunfights, they have like Pokemon battles and shit.
that
like,
sounds lit. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna draw a lot of Mudsdales.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot
Mudsdales
of
all the
horse
way.
Pokemon. There's Rapidash.
There are.
There's
That'll be fun. It's like
Mudsdale.
different-
There's what is Calyrex
Different outlaws.
What is what? Sorry?
Calyrex in I think it's X and Y or
Don't
Sword and
remember
Shield.
the character.
There's like a ghost
I don't
horse
know.
or something. There's a lot of horses. Anyway, my favorite Pokemon are Coughing and Wheezing and Slugma and Macargo or whatever the hell it's called. The fire slugs, I really like those. Typhlosion is one of my favorites. Natu and Xatu
Oh, they're
is
fucking
really cool.
based. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like them.
Knocked
Umbreon
out.
looks cool, but I've never used it before. The new generation Slowking, where he's poison and psychic, is really dope. Misdreavus and Mismagius are really neat. I like
Slowking's one of
them.
my favorites too, especially just because the talking Slowking from Pokemon 2000 is very endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm looking through the new gen Pokemon, and there's a Pokemon called Colossal that is
Colossal.
rock fire type, and it has the coolest design I've
Colossal,
seen of
yeah.
a rock
Colossal is
Pokemon
dope.
ever. Like the
one that's, like, just a
embers in the
stack of
back.
coal.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
stack of coal. He's
like a
great.
It was like a
Full of
fiery
coal.
Geodude.
Yeah,
Kinda.
I thought that design was a little
I like him.
ridiculous, but it's not bad. It's fun.
Sharpedo is dope. I really liked him.
Okay. Let's see. I don't want to do another episode about Pokemon for a while. So what's everybody's favorite legendary? Mine is Darkrai.
Rayquaza for sure.
It's interesting because like in Gen 1, the only legendaries, you had the birds and Mewtwo and Mew. And I had never been, like, super excited about them as, like, oh, these are, like, the most uniquely interesting Pokemon because they're legendary. The films kind of started propping that up because it's like, okay, well, you only really get to see legendaries fleshed out in the movies, so it makes it kind of a big deal. And you had Lugia and Ho-Oh, Gen 2. But it was really like Gen 4 where they suddenly just introduced like fucking 25 legendaries that generation.
They did do that. Yeah.
And like, and that was the gen I never played, so to me it was always, it felt weird because it felt like Pokemon had just gotten like ludicrously over-designed and crazy, where like you've introduced only like 70 new Pokemon this gen and most of them are legendaries. And I do think it was kind of supposed to be like the last Pokemon game in a way, and not in the sense that like they weren't going to make more, but that like it feels like it's a final chapter to having already played the games that came before, like, because it's got so many of the Pokemon in it, it's got so much legendaries, you meet God in the game, like as a Pokemon, so it's like this is the game about being legendary, about being like the epic grandiose like final form. And then with Black and White, they basically reset, where like there's no old Pokemon in that game. It's pretty much like they went back to just making the first game again, but with a different set of Pokemon in a new world. And that got me really excited, and that got me back into Pokemon when it happened, because it was like, okay, now that it's all been trimmed away and I just get to play with 150 brand new Pokemon, I love the designs of Black and White personally. So, that was an exciting time, but anyway, all that just to say that legendaries like changed in nature after Diamond and Pearl, to where like Shade, who got into Pokemon with that generation, like all his favorite Pokemon were legendaries, because like why wouldn't they be? They're just so much more badass and ridiculous, like stuff like Darkrai and Giratina and like all these like. I
did have an era where I was like, oh, Deoxys and Darkrai and the Azelf, Uxie, and whatever, the trio of Mesprit.
I never really liked their designs. I was more of a...
Victini was really cool.
Victini's cool.
Victini's
What's the
cool.
grass Victini? The luck one.
Celebi.
What was that? Drachi. No, Drachi, right?
Oh, Jirachi's the luck one. Celebi's the grass one.
Celebi's the grass one. Okay, they're two different. Okay.
Yeah, I liked Palkia out of that generation.
I liked Dialga in that one. I didn't play Sun or Moon, but all the Tapus, the Island Guardian, like Tapu Koko.
Oh,
and
those
Tapu
are
Lele,
great. Yeah.
They're really
Sun and
fun
Moon
looking.
actually has probably my favorite legendaries, now that you mention it. And like I wasn't as big a fan of the Ultra Beasts, because those things are fucking ridiculous.
They're also not
weird.
Legendaries.
Oh, are they not? Okay.
No.
But like
just the Swords of Justice or whatever. Are those legendary?
Those are legendary, but that's the next.
Yeah, those are
generation
considered.
That's the next one. Okay,
yeah. The Sun and Moon had the Ultra Beasts, which are these like weird alien, like very, very, very over designed. But like that's kind of the point, is that like they're not really supposed to be Pokemon. They're like dimensional beasts or some shit. So yeah, those are weird. But that game did have like the Tapu Koko, who is one of the most like. One of the coolest looking, funnest to use legendaries. Every time you summon him, like the entire arena changes into this like electric, cloudy field and everything. And he's also in the anime, the Sun and Moon anime, pretty heavily. So yeah, he's cool.
Lunala. Lunala. Cool ass wings.
Is that the forgotten
Bird Moon Pokemon?
one?
It's the moon Pokemon. It's a bat, and the bat wings is space, and that's so cool. But also Reshiram. I remember when Reshiram first came out, the design, like everyone on the internet commented on the shape of his little puffed at the bottom, because it looks like a dick. And I like Reshiram a lot, but I also like Zekrom too.
So have you guys seen the new Reggies that came in pretty recently?
No.
The electric one and the dragon one? So there's they're called Regieleki and Regidrago.
Those actually are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like Regidrago.
Regidrago's like just a little sphere with the Regi dots on it, and like a dragon is eating it. And then Regieleki is like a little dude with electric hands.
The coloring on Regidrago looks sick. I especially like the pink on the inside, contrasting with the blue-gray on the outside. A little bit more of like a teal gray, but it's It looks great.
It is neat. So the horses I was talking about, they're Spectrier is the ghost horse, and Glastrier is a ice horse, and that's from Sword and Shield, the expansions for Sword and Shield.
Zacian. Now that you mention Sword and Shield, the fairy wolf. Oh
Fairy
my god.
wolf?
Yeah, there's like in Sword and Shield.
Do you mean
Sword and Shield?
Zacian and Zamazenta?
Yes, I like Zacian the most.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
the pink.
one I played. I had Zacian. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, except for the fact that you only have like one big area to catch Pokemon, and you have to catch them at a certain time of day, and it's really hard to do and confusing, and it's not really open world. But you know, it was fun. It is kind of easy. Like once you evolve Groki to his final evolution, he gets a move that you can just kind of steamroll everything with, and then the game is just really, really easy, and it
That's
kind of
fun.
becomes not fun.
Sword and Shield is a weird game. It's very like experimental, and I like the thought that they are like. I like the train of thought they're on with the game, but it's like obviously to be improved on with later installments. And like I haven't gotten the chance to play Arceus yet, but it looks like a sensible expansion on the ideas of that game into something that works better in 3D than what we had gotten so far from the Pokemon adaptations.
Have you guys seen Sword and Shield's Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres?
Yes.
Yeah, so
that-
Articuno's
no.
like
It's fucking
purple. Mint,
awesome.
show the man.
It's
I'm
a
looking it up.
Galorian.
Okay.
Yes.
So
instead
Articuno's
of-
like purple. I don't know the
Galarian.
typing. Zapdos
Zapdos is sick,
orange,
too.
and it's fighting and electric, I think. And then Moltres is fire and, I don't know, dark maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, fire and dark, because a lot of people complained because Yveltal is like
Oh
flying
yeah,
and
he
dark.
does look kind of like Yveltal,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah, Articuno is flying and psychic.
Okay.
Articuno looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
I
Or no,
want that
ice
one.
flying. Sorry.
Ice.
Types, Okay, ice flying was the original one. So
Yeah.
yeah, psychic flying.
She looks like a dancer, like a ballerina dancer.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. But Galorian Moltres, this is sick.
Yeah, he's like
The fire is sick as hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
We'll have to create our own like Western versions of Pokemon too, where you can do type memes, do whatever you want, Mint.
Yeah, we should just throw ideas for Pokemon at Mint so she can draw them.
Yeah, do it.
I love Pokemon.
All right, so let's move on to our second to last segment. I want to talk about for the Animates segment. We're all friends. We're mates. We're gonna
Yes.
get together and we're gonna talk about anime.
Amazing.
Get it, guys?
Yeah.
Animates segment. This week we're mostly gonna let Trixie just talk about her process on this latest video, the deep dive, the takeaways that didn't make it into the video, or maybe just the meta process of it.
Sure. So, yeah, the idea of this, as I said earlier, came about from the conversation we were having last week, right after the podcast, and so I immediately just like started constructing this list. And as I was adding more and more to the list, I was like, I'm gonna have to cut off at some point because there's no way I can fucking watch all of this, even if I'm just sampling it. It's gonna take forever. And basically, I determined that 1999 made a sensible cutoff because the 2000s is when like cameras got cheap enough that it was easy for anybody to make stuff, and so there just became way more shit. And it's not that that stuff's not good, just that there's too much. So, so I started along with watching it, and I don't even think I knew from the beginning if I was going to cover like all of those 40 years or what. It's just like a matter of how far can I get, how quickly. And in a way, I'm thankful that a lot of stuff wasn't available in English because it meant it was easier to just, blow past a lot of stuff, and it wasn't that hefty a load of stuff to actually watch. And even then, like, there's tons of stuff that in this video I say is watchable. And I say that because I think that they are like, well constructed or well adapted or people will like it. It doesn't mean that I necessarily finished it or like thought it would appeal to me that strongly because actually there's only two things I like very deliberately watched all the way to the end. And it was the first Lone Wolf and Cub movie and the first episode of Sukeban Deka. And those were probably my two favorite things I watched. But even then, like, there are 6 Lone Wolf and Cub movies. And, like, The first one, it's a good movie, but it's slow and it's tonally very dark, and the characters aren't like that appealing to me. So it's not a film series where I would be like super excited to see the next one. It's like I watched it and I went, yeah, that was good. I appreciate this historically. I think it's, it was worth having seen, but I'm not like a fan of it. I don't want to see 5 more movies of this. Although I did enjoy watching the Kill compilation that I ended up using in the video for when I talk about that segment. So then like Lady Snowblood, which came after that, is a movie that I thought looked incredible. And so I watched like a pretty sizable amount of it. But again, it eventually got into a point where I was like, this isn't a movie like for me. Like, I don't really care for vengeance movies. I'm not that into like stuff that's just kind of dark and violent for the sake of itself. Like, the point of the movie is like there's these assholes who just like murder people for no reason, and then this girl is like taking vengeance and murdering all of them. So it's a big murder-thon, and it had a lot of influence on Kill Bill, which is a movie that I really enjoy. But Kill Bill is also like pumped up and more modern and more, it's just more appealing to my sensibilities overall, I guess. But not even to say I wouldn't finish Lady Snowblood or like wouldn't go back and just watch the rest if somebody was interested in doing so with me. But it was like, okay, I watched 35 minutes of this. I know what's good about it. I can talk about it, and then I can move on to the next thing if I don't really want to watch it, which was almost always the case. Like, most of it was not stuff that I would have chosen to watch in a context other than, trying to learn about every single one that existed. If you really hear me like not talking about something very much, it probably means I didn't watch as much of it. Something like Eiho Mansu, where I'm just like, yeah, it looks really pretty, because like I watched an amount of it and was like, I don't really know what's going on or care that much, but it looks really cool, and obviously someone would like this, so I'm going to say it's watchable. But then there'd be times where there's going to be someone who would like any of these things, but I just basically wanted to have like a reasonable threshold of recommendability of like, does this seem like something that I know someone who would go back and watch this, or is this something that like, if you whipped this out, people would be like, why in the fuck are you making me look at this, So yeah, that was kind of the standard, so it was a blistering pace of me going through like finding each thing if I can, or figuring out if I can find the thing, and then and then checking it out. Which there was a ton of stuff that I was surprised how easy it is to find. Like, anything that wasn't impossible to find was very easy. Lots of these movies were subtitled on YouTube. Lots of them were just on like sites that I could just search watch name of movie into DuckDuckGo, and like it comes up on Dailymotion or something. So like none of these were in obscure, hard to find places, but there were a lot of them that just like aren't translated into English, or that I didn't find out about, like, because they're under different names and stuff. So like there were some that during the editing process, like I realized, oh, this movie did have a translation, it's just under a different name. And like there's lots of stuff that, like, the main sources I had for this list were, there's a Wikipedia list of films based on manga. And so anything that was marked as live action on that list, I wrote down. But it's very incomplete, and especially for, like, the 60s and some of the early 70s. So, like, there was tons of stuff missing that people have noted, in the comments and stuff like that I'll probably go back and track down as much of it as I can if I do another part of this. But
cool.
It's there's lots of stuff that just wasn't really well notated, but I did track some things down, and I found out about certain stuff through the editing process. So yeah, I basically did as much as I felt I possibly could. And yeah, that's that. That's my Animates for the week.
I like that you've separated it into sort of following these things on a timeline, so that you can go back in and do like 2000, 2010,
right.
2010 to whatever. And eventually this is a lead up to the Cowboy Bebop video, right?
Well, that will come out before I do any continuations of
will?
This stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, this
so
was
it's not like a timeline lead up. It's just
no. I just was like, I just had the idea and thought, oh shit, this is a thing. Like, because the Bebop video, is just a little bit more narrow. So I figured if there was something that was more broadly talking about this, it might draw more attention than that specifically would. So far, that hasn't really been the case. It hasn't had gotten a ton of views. I keep updating the thumbnail and title, trying to
I'm seeing great reception to it.
Yeah, people love it who are watching it. I just got to get enough people to watch it,
Well, maybe the Cowboy Bebop video will help with that. We also have a JoJo video.
Yes. JoJo.
In the works.
And an Agretsuko video. And Inuyasha, which is probably going to be the next one to come out, because I'm just finishing up the show, and it comes out on the 4th, so yeah.
That's exciting. Next week's episode of this podcast, we will go in depth. We will all talk about our Road Rage experiences. Road Rage is the name of the live event that the Dick Show podcast has, and we've all been to a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have been to a couple of them. I was like,
I
thought I'd been to one.
Next episode, we will be recapping our Road Rage Los Angeles 2 adventures, because Mint and I are going with Cranberry Dave to LA. We're staying in an Airbnb we got in downtown Los Angeles with famous YouTuber Tony from Hack the Movies.
Very famous.
Guy, yeah.
Because Trixie and Bird are not coming with us this time.
No, too far, too much for one event.
Too much for farness.
Too much for farness. Buy house.
Too many miles.
Just to spend one day hanging out with people. Luckily, I've kind of had to realize that Trixie was right about it being kind of a lot to spend 10 days going to somewhere for one day.
Yeah.
So, well, we did it, with Burning Dick. We've done this one.
Right. Well, and this time, Cranberry Dave and I are going to meet up with some producers in LA.
Nice.
We're going to do a recording session at a guy's studio with, there's going to be 3 or 4 different producers there. And some people that are fans of hurricane season want to work with Dave and I.
Sick.
Hell yeah.
So that's how you really make the trip worth it. We'll update you guys on that and everything else next week. And I'll be able to catch up with you two, Bird and Trixie, next week.
Woohoo.
Do you want to go ahead and plug your socials?
At Golden Witch Fire on everything. Patreon.com/GoldenWitchFire. GoldenWitch.substack.com.
At Bird Stork on everything, and I feel like I haven't said it enough this episode. Buy me a truck, 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 buy me a truck.
In my socials are It's Salad. My NSFW is Titsman Salad, and our Patreon is patreon.com/ASC Presents.
Let's go ahead and do a listener comment section here at the end. We don't have voicemails. I was thinking about setting up voicemails. What do you guys think?
Sure,
yeah.
There's
Fun
no
idea.
way that could go wrong.
When I get back from LA, we'll set up voicemails, which means expect that around episode 5 of the show. But for now, I have pulled some of the listener comments. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot. Go leave a comment, especially ask a question, something you want us to read on the show. I want to make this show pretty interactive.
Yeah.
Listener comments are a thing I really like about the Dick Show. So if you have any advice you want from me or Trixie, or anti-advice from Mint, she'll tell you how not to do something.
Let's go. I want to hear them.
I pull up.
Big Gay commented on YouTube and said, "My new morning poop podcast to listen to. Based."
That's a long poop.
Yep. Project FM said, "Great episode. It's a shame so few people will end up listening to it due to this channel's limited reach." I agree. Share the podcast, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Tell people about how much you like pooping to our show.
Gary Always on Twitter said, "I thought the show was canceled. I said, this is a new podcast. It's in the title." Gary said, "I can't read." Cry emoji. So yeah, those are the 3 listener comments.
Incredible. I'll be looking forward to more.
It's a good start.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening to this episode.
The new Voidgazers Podcast.
Yes. Subscribe to us everywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Trixie and Riley, aka here in the Golden Witch, the Voidgazers. Follow me into the void, but typically you're bored. Here is that you're paranoid, making you into a joint to bury. We carry all your memories and remix your ancestors. Past the future, have a melt in your mouth texture.
Cheese bread, take your head. Subscribe to bed, dodge the feds. A virus spreads, you're not safe, so take the pill. Everyone can see you on the hill, so come into the void.